Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics/Non Classics. This is episode number 1755 and Doubleshot number 1649. I have two Marvel trades featuring two sexy ladies, both of whom have dated Spider-Man. Yes, seriously. First one is Captain Marvel, Volume 6, Strange Magic. Yep. This collects Captain Marvel. I believe this is volume 10 or 11. Issues 27 to 30. Yes, a four-parter. Yes, this is basically Carol dealing with the events of New World story arc. Basically the aftermath of this particular story arc where she broke up with Rhodey and just kind of a downward place. And things starts off with we have her in bed and then you have Jessica Juice just crashing through her window just to get out to a party. Well, basically do some adventuring, so she can stop sleeping in. And then, of course, Raph, then he goes to do this again. Party time! And we invite various women to this party. We have Jessica. We have Kamala Khan disappeared briefly for one issue of the book. We have Hazmat out of costume. We also have Captain Marvel's half-sister who popped up during the Empire story arc period here. Yep. And, what was the purpose of this party? Speed dating! And here's some by weird coincidence. On this speed date, she runs to Doctor Strange, who she ends up sleeping with. Yes, seriously, Doctor Strange gets it on with Carol Danvers. And apparently this is something that's been building up since the War of the Realms tie-in. Which I should point out, though, happened a couple years prior to this. Wow, that's quite something. And then they kiss again. And then, of course, start teaching her magic. And then, of course, she stops to work with him for a bit. She goes with Amora the Enchantress of all people. And just kind of going down a dark path. So Dr. Train's like, hey, Rhodey, you know your ex is basically acting weird. She needs a bedrock. Can you go to her, please? He's like, really? And by the way, he was in the middle. It looked like he's making a shake. Gets all over him. And eventually goes out in his War Machine armor. Not the Iron Patriot suit. Throw away that piece of crap. Go with the War Machine suit. And he helps out Carol. At one point, Carol runs into, looked like she runs into the Namor's son from the future. Which, that popped up in a story arc. That was New World. And eventually, they restore back normal. And they pretty much restored the relationship anyways. Now, I do have a theory of why in the world she broke them up. Basically, to give her access to people. And my guess is that the reaction was pretty negative. Yes, it was pretty negative. And so she's like, okay, you guys didn't like that? Fine, I'll put them back together. At least it wasn't an issue. At least they waited a few issues between the breakup. Yep. I gotta say, for this really quick story, by the way, Doctor Strange himself, I think at the time when these issues this is the most recent story, actually just prior to his death, and the death of Doctor Strange. And the current story right now is The Last of the Marvels, which is a tie-in to the movie The Marvels. Yep. This book, really good. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good book. I thoroughly enjoy it. Kelly Thompson herself does absolutely really good job with this artwork. Yep. And, the writing, of course. The artwork is done by David Lopez, who did the first opening issue. The rest of the issue is done by Giacomo Camuncoli. Yes. Really good stuff for this one. Yep. I thought Doctor Strange thing was kind of weird. By the way, the whole thing with her and Strange sleeping together, that's never brought up again at all. It's just here, one and done. That was it. Next up we have, unfortunately, the final trade of Black Cat. Why would I say that? Because the series ended, this run ended after only releasing 10 issues. While it also had a giant-sized Black Cat Infinity score. The whole storyline itself is mostly put a follow-up to the annuals for Infinite Destinies, where Star is involved, and we kind of continue her relationship with Odysseia, where they were together. It looked like they were here just for these few issues here, and then by the end of this, they break up. Yep. And mostly put here, they just basically just continuing there and having this particular story arc pretty much be the end of the series for Black Cat. Yeah. Though it is kind of weird. The fact that we have stuff with Infinity Stones and this is what ends the really good Black Cat series. Yes. Because I had no idea Marvel was going to end this series because it just stopped publishing issue 10 and then we had a giant-sized one-shot released 2 months after issue 10 and that was it. No, seriously. That was it for Black Cat. Like, you bring the series back after you just relaunched the book and, by the way, you don't change the creative team in the book. Same creative team, just for number 1 for some strange reason. By the way, the artwork here is though like Camp Villa. And that's who does pretty much most of the artwork here. The cover is by Pepe Lores, who does all the issues here. With issue 8 in the giant size is Mario Garcia. And Alejandro Sanchez issues 9 and 10. Now, the story arc is that was pure fun. I love it. I purely love this book. And I say, really, Marvel? You end a really good series, especially this run, after only 10 issues. And here's the thing. They had just restarted this book just the previous year. This book ended just last year. They ended it in 2020, in year 2020. Well, they brought it back for King in Black. And then they end it. I'm like, why? Oh, and by the way, what does Black Cat do after this? She becomes a recurring character in the Beyond story arc for Amazing Spider-Man. That's what she does after this. That is not a joke. Good book. Stupid Marvel canceled this book. It was good. Gemma K did a great job with this book. I give this a 9.5 out of 10. Final thoughts on the Black Cat series. Because right now I officially reviewed all the trades that released the series. It's a really good series. Surprisingly combined. If you think about it, it'll put out 22 issues in just a couple years. Now, you could say the giant size Infinity one shot, that could have been issues 11 and 12. That could have been about 24 issues. Not a bad number per se, but you could say, oh, did Marvel cancel the book because of low sales? Possibly yes. But why would this book not be selling too well? You would think a book called Black Cat, that Marvel basically put some time and effort to basically market this damn book, and the book probably just ends. Like, there's nothing in this list that said, oh yeah, this is the end of the book. Nope, nothing. And I beg the question, why in the world did Marvel end the series? As far as I can tell, there's no reason for it. By the way, they just announced just today, I think it was yesterday, that another Killer Thomas book has been axed. Yes, they axed Black Widow. Yes, the Black Widow book got canceled. This time after 15 issues. And I will talk about that in a future video when I get a chance to get my hands on the final trade that apparently collects the series. Yes. But at least Jed McKay is still doing something on Marvel. I mean, he's doing the awesome. He's doing Moon Knight, which is really good. I'm loving it. I can't wait for the next show to come out. And he's doing Strange. Yep, he's doing Strange. Well, you know, the continuation of Doctor Strange, but man, this guy is hitting out the park with every book he's worked on so far. No bad book. And I've reviewed, like, in the short period of time he's been at Marvel, I've reviewed like a good chunk of the guy's work at Marvel Comics. Yeah, because I did review his very first book from I think it was Because the guy himself did a pretty good amount of books for Marvel he's done so far. And I've reviewed a good chunk of it. Like, Sir Protect, the very first book he worked on. That was actually collected in a Black Cat trade. And you're thinking, really? It was? Yep, it was. He's also done a story for Spider-Verse. Yes, he did the third story with Great Power Comes no future. Which is the Hobby Brown, the Arcanic Spider-Man. Which is the Punk Spider-Man. Yep. Who's actually in a miniseries soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still some more stuff to talk about with him, but I would say a good small chunk of the guy's stuff he's worked on I've covered. One book I've definitely not covered yet is the book he did just prior to this book, The Man Without Fear, the Daredevil miniseries, the bridge the gap between Charles Schultz's run and the Zardesky run. Yep. Which is interesting though, he did this book. I think this was actually his let's see. This was actually his. I think Vol Spires was it. Yeah, this is not. I think that Man Without Fear. That was actually the very first miniseries that he worked on. That wasn't like a tie-in or an anthology book. Well, yeah, that was a tie-in or anything, and he did that. He did Black Cat, Alpha Flight, The True North. The revived one-shot for Bizarre Adventures. He worked on a Spider-Verse miniseries, a one-shot for Absolute Carnage, which I have covered. Like, a lot of the stuff he's done lately, I've covered. Avengers Mech Straight, have not done this one yet. But a lot of these done in the last few years, I have covered already. There is still some stuff I have not officially covered yet, like his book Strange. I have not covered his first book for that one yet. But I've covered like a lot of this stuff so far, but not every single thing. I would say the only thing left to go is just the Spider-Verse books, the Spider-Verse #1, the full. Full Spider. I have covered that one in the. I think there was a companion book for Spider Goddamn for that one. Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm. Because I believe the Spider Goddamn was just in like 3 books, and I own like pretty much all of them. Let's see. Yeah, I have pretty much covered that one. So, yeah, the Vol Spiders, I've covered that one. So, the only things I officially have not covered yet for Jed MacKay have been Man Without Fear, Infinity Wars, Ghost Panther. That's a couple books. At least 2 one-shots. The Taskmaster miniseries. The Spider-Verse miniseries. Wolverine Red and Black. King of Black Spider-Man. Actually, I think I've covered that one. But at least a small chunk of the stuff the guys worked on. But there's still other stuff here. But I still beg the question for some of these characters, like, why the heck they ended for? By the way, in case you're curious, though, about the cast from the Black Cat. Like, Odysseia Drake, after this book wraps up, never seen again. No, seriously. She's never seen again. Black Fox, a classic Spider-Man villain. He never appears again after this book wraps up. Nope, he doesn't. Don't ask why, he just doesn't. Like, okay. What about the crew, or basically a crew she had in this very book itself? like after this book wrapped up, it popped up a few times. It popped up for The Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, an issue of the Amazing Spider-Man Beyond stuff, Mary Jane Black Cat Beyond, and an Infinity Comic one-shot. Yeah. That is literally what these characters have been working on since then. Yeah. But as for Black Cat herself, well, it's just the Beyond stuff. Yeah, that is literally what the character has worked on since. Well, it's the only book she's featured in now. It's just the main Spider-Man book. Yeah, that's the only thing lately she's been in. Though she's also been in the Marvel series, which has been really good, by the way. But her most recent appearance was Marvel's number 9. Yes, that was her most recent appearance to date. Yep. But now I shall say with 2 trades, they're both good. I kind of wish Black Cat wasn't canceled because it's a good book. Marvel. I've been thinking of doing a list of series Marvel made mistake and canceled the series. That was something to do in the future. So tomorrow, I expect to see. So this is going to be pretty much it for this particular video. Stay tuned for tomorrow. My reviews for hopefully Shaman King, Kegro Simon Levels War. Yep, the show is back. And a couple comic corners. Okay? Good video. Bye.